I'm going to be teaching you today about email marketing and how you're going to get more sign-ups for your sewing classes. I just have a few things that work really well for me that I want to share for you, and hopefully you can set up an email service provider if you don't already have one, or maybe you can use some of these tips to start getting a little bit more consistent about writing your emails and communicating with your customers when you're not seeing them in person in your studio. So I'm Megan Avery, and I'm actually in my studio today, and I have found over the years that email marketing is definitely my number one way to get people signed up for my classes. So I feel pretty passionately about it. And that's why I want to share with you some of the things that I've done. So I want to say thank you for being here. And let's get into it. Well, actually, before we get into it, I just want to say that I am making a change. I'm going to do these once a week, but I've been doing them kind of randomly on different days of the week at 1 p.m. Eastern. I have decided that this is very confusing for you. It's a little bit all over the place for me, so it's going to be Thursdays. Consistently on Thursday afternoons at 1 p.m. Eastern is when I'm going to be having these classes. So if you had already previously signed up, you got an email that said the day of the week is changing for any of the upcoming ones, but I just wanted to make that little announcement. I think it'll be less confusing for everyone if it's just consistently every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So hope that works for you all. We do have a bunch of video classes already up on the website, and in case you don't know where to find those, you can find them on YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/HipStitchAcademy, they're all there. But they're also on our website, hipstitch.co/video classes. So we've got a ton of content there, and it's all free. And I'm teaching about different business topics that relate to what we all do, teaching people how to sew. All right, so let's see. Today's topic of discussion, email marketing. And I'm just going to talk about how you can write better emails that are going to get people to come to your classes. So that's essentially email marketing, right? Communicating with people in the form of an email service. So you can sign up at MailChimp, you can sign up at ConvertKit, you can sign up at there's a bunch of different ones if you just Google them, and they kind of have different price points. But and some of them are even just completely free, but it's a great way to professionally communicate with someone via email rather than just like going to your inbox and sending an email or like copying and pasting a bunch of email addresses into the to line or the blind CC line. You don't want to do that. You want to have a professional service that does it for you, that personally emails the people that are on your list, the people who've opted to be on your list, and then you can kind of grow that list with different tools that they provide on your website and in your classes and at events that you do. So today I'm going to talk about a few different things. The first is the objectives of email communication. The second one I'm going to talk about is how often to send email communication. I'm also going to talk about why email communication is essential for your business, totally essential. And then I'm going to talk about formats for your email communications. And what else? Finally, I want to talk a little bit about tracking your emails. What are the emails that people are opening? What are the emails that people are unsubscribing to? It can be a little weird, but you definitely want to become familiar with all of those things. Okay? So I'm going to go over here. All right, cool. Let's get back to this. Okay, So first up, the objectives of email communication that I feel are the most, that I wanted to bring up is first and foremost is to serve your customers. These are people who you teach, who come into your studio, who you've gotten to know because they are your customers. So you have to keep in mind that you want to email them because you want to serve them in a better way. You want to maybe find out what they're looking for, have some communication with them to better help them with what you do. The second objective of email communication is, just basically to stay in touch with them. So you want to make sure that your communications are allowing people to see what you have going on, see what events you have coming up, see what classes you're teaching. These are people that have said, yes, I want to be on your email list. So you need to keep them updated on what you're doing. And then the third and final objective to emails should be, yes, you guessed it, to sell. You're still a business. It should not feel uncomfortable to sell sewing classes in your email marketing. So notice I didn't say that was the first thing, but we can't forget that that's what this is for. So obviously you're sending emails to sell what you're doing. And with a business like ours, I think that you can provide some content. Maybe it'd be interesting in your newsletter to share sewing related things, but really you're keeping them up to date on what you have going on and how you can, teach them better, basically. Figure out what classes you're running and then be able to sign up for them, or find out when the winter session of the kids sewing class is ending and the spring session is starting. So you got to keep everybody up to date with that. So I'm guessing one of the questions that people will have is, how often should you be sending these emails? And there's no magic answer to this. I think it's something that's up to you. It's how much time do you have to communicate? How many things do you have going on in your studio that you need to update people with? But whatever you decide, make sure that it's consistent. Make sure that you're committed, if you decide it's going to be once a month, that you are consistent in sending your newsletter once a month so people can expect it. So people can go, oh yeah, here's my monthly newsletter from the sewing studio. What do they have going on? So doesn't matter how often. For me, I send an email just about once a week. Actually, we tend to have a lot of things going on, and I find that sending an email once a week works really well, and I try to be very consistent about that timeline. So try to do that as well. Okay. Make sure that when you decide to send it, that goal is realistic for you, right? So don't say, oh yeah, I'm going to have, a weekly newsletter and I'm going to send it every week, and you get going and you're sending it consistently. And then it's like, oh man, do I have enough to say in this next one? And then it becomes every 2 weeks, and then it becomes every once a month. And then, you're sending it every 6 months. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Decide realistically how often you can email people and then try to stick to that, okay? So the next thing I want to talk about is why email is essential for your business. I did a little searching, Googling about, what the statistics of email marketing are. And it's, and I made sure that the statistics that I'm searching for were relevant for this year, today, 2020. And, and I've done other bits and pieces of research because I've talked about this before, but, email's not going anywhere. And the reason is that the return on, or the engagement rate, or the conversion rate for an email is about 4%. And there's a lot of, that goes into that number, but someone who gets an email from you, 4% of them is going to somehow engage with that, whether it's clicking on it or buying something or whatever it is. 4% of the people are going to react to something that you've written in an email, whereas the statistics are showing that 0.5% are reacting to something in social media. Okay, so I think that that's a pretty telltale sign that email is definitely, a way better way to get somebody to know what you have going on. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't do social media, but I am saying that email should be first and foremost, because people are just more likely to act on it or click on it or purchase something from that email. Another reason that I think email is really essential in your business is because it's a connection that you own. So, you've put this person on your email list, or they've put themselves on your email list. And anyway, they've said to you, yes, I am interested in what you have to offer, and I would like to know about future offerings. You control that relationship with them. When you email them, they decide whether or not they want to read it, but it's going to end up in their email box, right? Their email inbox. Whereas social media, you're not controlling anything. You can post, and even though people have said, yes, I want to be your follower, I want to be your fan, whatever it is, Facebook is controlling whether or not someone sees your post. Instagram is controlling whether or not someone sees your post. So I think email, you have to remember that when you email someone, it's going to wind up in their inbox. Whether they look at it or not is up to them, but you send it, they have the option to see it if they want to. Whereas Facebook or Instagram, it's just not the way. They have all the control, you have none. Until you pay. All right. This brings us to another reason that email is essential. And I kind of said it before, but these are people who have said to you, I am interested in what you do. I'm interested in finding out about your classes. I've taken classes with you before and I want to find out more. They want to hear from you. So take advantage of that. Write to these people and let them know what's going on. That is definitely a huge reason that email is essential in your business. Okay. Moving right along, we're going to talk about some format things for your email communications. And the first is a subject line, because that's going to be the first thing that someone sees when you send them an email. They're going to see, that it's from your studio or from you, and then they're going to see a subject line. So I really want, even if your email is short and sweet and doesn't have a whole lot in there, if you're just literally copying and pasting from your website, great. But for the subject line, give that some thought. Give that, a little bit more consideration, because you want them to see that subject line and go, oh, this sounds so great. This is so exciting. Let me click on that. Let me read the entire email, whatever it is. So subject line is very important. Okay. The next thing is, my suggestion to you is use less images and use more text. And that is because when you're sending an email, if your email has a lot of images in it, it tends to get a little bit more lost in different filters in people's emails. But if you send a text email that, has a lot of links over to your website where they can see all the beautiful things that you do, just, keeping the images out of the email and saving that for getting them over to the website. So short and sweet text that'll get them excited, and then include links that go over to your website that will give, all the beautiful images that they need to see. Those can be over on your website. So try to go low images and more text in your emails. The next thing is try to address people by name. All of the email service providers allow you to do that. As long as you're collecting a first name when they're signing up for the email, you can store the person's first name, you can store their email address, and then you're able to put a piece of code. It sounds a little bit more technical than it is. It's actually really simple to do on almost all of these email platforms, to be able to say, "Hi, Megan," and make that email a little bit more personal. If you're confused about how to do that, just go to YouTube and literally put in the search bar, "How do I personalize a mass email?" And they will, I'm sure, have 17 different ways to show you how to do that. But try to do that. It makes a difference. People love to see an email with their name on it. Okay. And then lastly, I want to encourage you to track these emails, okay? Once you send an email and you wait a few days, go back in there and see who opened the email. What percentage of people actually opened the email? What percentage of people clicked on a link in the email? What percentage of people, you can even get as specific as who purchased a class on your email. That gets a little bit more technical with your registration software, but it is possible. If you've got somebody in your life that's a little bit more tech savvy, you can even track that. But just starting with the basics. Who opened the email? Who clicked on the email? And then the dreaded who unsubscribed to your email. I don't recommend looking at exactly who unsubscribed, because you might recognize an email address and that always feels a little weird. But just see, did this last email have a lot of unsubscribers or 0 unsubscribers? And then, based on those 3 things, figure out the emails that do the best. Try to determine what it is about that email that gets lots of clicks, that doesn't have anyone subscribing, that gets lots of people to open them. So by just looking at and becoming familiar with the tracking information on your emails, you are going to start sending better and better and better emails. So please look at that. I don't always look at it either, and this is as much a reminder for myself as it is for you. Okay. If you want to learn more about email marketing, I have a ton of stuff over on the HipStitch Academy blog. It's hipstitch.co/blog. You can even just put the word email marketing in the little search tool, and I'll bring up all the articles about email marketing. And last but not least, don't forget about the Sewing Camp Profit Lab, the video course that I have launching. Now it's actually launched. It's only going to be available to the end of the month, so there'll be 3 months to implement all the things that you're going to learn in that video course, so you can launch an awesome kids sewing camp by June 1st. If you want any more details on that, super easy, hipstitch.co/summer camp profit lab, or just go to the hipstitch.co website. There's a link right on the first page. If you guys have any questions on this email or anything else, don't ever hesitate to reach out. I am Megan@maverydesigns.com, or just go to the hipstitch.co website and click on contact. You can send me an email that way. I read all of the emails and I answer all of the emails. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll be able to join us next week, Thursday at 1 p.m. That's February 20th. So it's not this coming Thursday. It's a week from Thursday. February 20th, we're going to be talking all about email pop-up boxes. And if you don't know what that is, you should definitely come and check out that video. So until then, have a great week and thanks for watching. Bye.